So we're seeing fantastic growth in smartphone penetration and increasing use of tablets. About 25% of smartphone owners here in Europe actually own a tablet as well. And an ever-increasing proportion of internet traffic coming from those connected devices.
Yes, the Japanese market has been rather innovative in a way, but actually it is in the midst of a smartphone bubble, which is rather late compared to Europe. So
more than 30 million people in Japan who are swiping their phones to get on a train, board a plane, make micropayments at convenience stores, and also swiping at vending machines to get a Coca-Cola. So Japan is very different in a lot of respects. So a lot of what's happening in Japan has taken a lot of time to develop. So that's why we're this big. But that legacy has gotten in the way for certain things to happen in Japan in comparison to what's happening in the rest of the world. For instance, like smartphone take-up is at least 10% now, but smartphone only took off starting maybe last year because the feature phone market was very dominant.
And one of the things that came out from the panel discussion that was very interesting was, of course, the difference between the Japanese market and the European and then Western market in terms of controlling the content and the ecosystem. Where in Japan we still have a very vertical system for mobile operators still controlling most of the content, while here in Europe iPhone and Apple have really changed how we actually interact with our mobile phones with services today.
And then Metro allows developers and designers to extend the phone and do these amazing other things in the shape of applications. Metro is based on information and content. We care a lot about content and making content the star of the show and making the user interface go to the background and really let the content shine. And so in many cases people will notice that all the content in the screen is actually actionable, like people can tap over images or over text, and the content is the user interface.
Social, mobile, and local, or MoSolo, which is a really interesting way to think about the convergence of all of these ecosystems and platforms and technologies. Social, I don't think is surprising to anyone that it's the fastest growing thing happening right now. It's not too strange for anyone to think how much social has impacted either their department, company, or actually them as a consumer. It's a phenomenon that is very, very relevant in this discussion. Local has been enormously successful entrant into this ecosystem. The daily deals is just one aspect, but also the GPS-enabled mobile devices and the way that people interact with them are phenomenal. And then you add the component of the mobile, which is probably the fastest growing technology that the world has ever seen. And the adoption of the smartphone and the speed with which consumers are adopting that. If you look at our data from the Nielsen side of our joint venture, in the US and Europe or around the world, you can definitely see the growth and adoption and the way people are using the mobile devices.
When I come here and I actually talk, I have a different kind of perception of things. And also I see that they all feel that they are quite late in terms of the NFCs and the mobile coupons, but they have great ideas, and I think it will be very interesting to a market to look at, the German market to look at in the coming years.